Hi everyone, this is Gary Coleshill and you're in the right place. This today will be a talk on how to get funding for college and keep those nasty student loans down. Anyway, we're very fortunate today to have Scott Rulon with us from Rulon Financial in Phoenix, Arizona. And Scott's going to be giving you some tips and generally great ideas on how to keep your debt down on those student loans. So without much further ado, I will pass you over to Scott. Scott, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Gary. And I have a special invitation for a lot of you today. We are actually doing two sessions today. We're going to be doing a session after this, and we're going to answer live any questions you have about college funding. And so that's going to be, I'm in Arizona, so that's going to be at 3 o'clock Arizona time for those of you that want to listen to that and ask some questions, because that's all we're going to do there. But today, for this portion, we're going to talk about college funding. I always like to change this up, and we do this literally every week. So every time you tune in, you might learn something different. And so that's the exciting thing about it. And I think most of you, while you're here, you may be in college yourself. You may have a son or daughter that's a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school. And, they're ready to go to college. While we understand college is not for everybody, for many of you, you want to go to college, and certainly you want to save as much money as possible when going there. I want to tell you, literally one of the best ways to save money for college is one that you're not going to expect me to say. When you go to college, take it seriously. Colleges, although it's important to have fun, meet lots of other kids your own age or near your age. When you go to college, take it seriously. You should you should not be going to college if you don't have to for 5 years. That fifth year can be very costly in the form of, especially if you are at a state university or college, that could be as much as $30,000 to $35,000 a year if you are going to a private school. We also call those profile schools. Those are like the Harvard, Yales, Colgates, Emory's, Notre Dame's. They all cost about $80,000 a year, believe it or not, Gary. What do you think about that rate?
I think it's interesting, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate the fact that college is one of your biggest expenses, barring buying a home or indeed buying a car that you're going to come across in your life. So you really got to approach this very seriously indeed and do some serious planning, because it can make a real difference the rest of your life. No one particularly wants to get saddled with a couple of $100,000 worth of student loans. That takes a long time to pay off if you ever can. So yeah, I would take this very seriously indeed and plan for it. Spend more time planning for it than you would your annual vacation, let's say, because it's important and it's expensive.
Yeah, in fact, Gary, in a recent survey that was done, what do you think is the number one item getting in the way of parents' retirement?
Yeah, probably the student loans they co-signed on, I would think.
But well, it could also be the student loans that they have.
Or they had themselves. Yes, true indeed. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I like to start out this by talking about what I'm going to call 10 scam warning signs about college. You'll notice that when your son or daughter gets to be about a junior in high school, you'll start getting all these odd things in the mail from the National Association of this or the American Association of that, promising you for some amount of fee, maybe $35.95, that they've got you all set for college. Well, I can tell you almost 10 times out of 10, those are scams. There's no such way to pay some small fee up front and get a whole bunch of college aid. I will tell you on the other side, it may be worth an investment in talking to a private college advisor who has been through this process with their own children. In fact, Gary has been through this process with his kids as well.
I have indeed,
So,
yeah.
so it can be a
Twice.
little bit daunting. And so one of the hardest things is as I'm sitting with somebody across the other parents across from my desk from me, and I ask them what school they're going to go to, they want their children to go to, and then they'll tell me, and what we'll do together is we will actually write down the cost of that school for 1 year. And so that not only includes tuition, but you should understand if you don't live near that college or university, room and board today is as much as the tuition that you will pay. And so what I will do is I will write down that tuition number and that room and board number and the fees and stuff like that. And I will turn it around and I will put that in front of their face. And I will just ask them straight out, and I will absolutely shut up and I will ask them, what is your plan to pay for that? And then I will just be quiet. And I have literally, although I hate to say this, I've literally had parents start crying in front of me, or they get angry and then go, "It's that much?" But what I'm really looking for is their honest reaction. I really want to see whether they are coachable or not. Some of them will come in and say, "Scott, that's why we're going to hire you." And I say, "But if you didn't have me, what would you do?" And I just want their honest answer. And, I really want to get to the point where some of them say, "Scott, I have no clue." Because if they're willing to admit that, I know that this is a teachable moment for them. And so we will go through it. We will go through it together. My proudest moment is always when the kids have graduated from college and they're on the front steps of the whatever college or university they've gone to, and they take a picture in their cap and gown and they send it to me. And so it's nice to see the value that we can provide to them. But now that I believe we've got everybody on, let's actually talk about 10 scam warning signs. Knowing these warning signs can keep you from being a scholarship scam victim. Number one, fees. You shouldn't have to pay a fee for or apply for to search for or apply for scholarships. A great free scholarship site, by the way, is called fastweb.com. FASTWEB.com. COM. Beautiful thing is, it's free, folks. So it will take your son or daughter probably 30 to 45 minutes to fill out their information on the site. And you shouldn't do this for them, parents. You should let them do this because this is their first step into learning that college, sorry for the term, ain't free. And we need some of their buy-in. Even in our own family with our son, we had him roll through the process with us. I think the first thing that all of you should do is you should make a list of the 12 college universities or junior colleges that you would like your kids to go to. And this would be a great process for both of you to sit down together, as my father did with me decades and decades ago, and decide which ones you want to go to. And so remember, you're not going to get into all of these, but you should make a decision. So what I would say is pick maybe 2, 3 pie in the sky colleges. Pick some other ones, maybe 5, 6 others that are middle of the road, and pick some down in the bottom tier that your son or daughter can get into. And it's important to, talk to them that this certainly is an investment. It's an investment in their future. Number 2, if they ask for a credit card or bank account information, you should never give a credit card or bank account information to award providers. That is a sure indication, Gary, that it is a scam. Next one, number 3, scholarship guarantee. No one can guarantee that you'll win a scholarship because no one else can control scholarship judges' decisions. Also, be wary of high success rates. They usually do not refer to actual award winners. No work involved. That one should let you know right off the bat that is just not a good choice. There is always work involved in getting some sort of college financing, scholarship, or some type of loan. You can't avoid putting in time to fill out scholarship applications. Folks, it takes time to do all of these. It's just not going to happen. There are, especially for the really competitive scholarships. Let me give you an example one. There's actually one called the National Space Foundation Scholarships. And I'm proud to say that one of my students actually won that 2 years ago. She literally got to go to Cape Canaveral, Florida, and she was one of 10 people in the entire US that got that. She is, in fact, recently married, and her husband actually is a military member in the Space Force. So if you want, so they are winnable, but I will tell you, this young lady was top of her class, had the highest scores you could get on the ACT and SAT. She was a very talented young lady. And by the way, doing very well today. Next one, no contact information. Legitimate sponsors should provide contact information upon request. If the sponsor does not supply a valid email address, phone number, and mailing address, by the way, not a P.O. box, after you've asked for one, this could be a sign of you got it, a scam. Number 6, unsolicited scholarships. If you are called to receive an award for which you never applied, be alert. It's most likely a scam. This just doesn't happen. Number 7, pressure tactics. If you are called to receive an award for which you never applied, be aware. Don't allow yourself to be pressured into applying for a scholarship, especially if the sponsor is asking for, you got it, money up front. They never do that if it's a legitimate scholarship. That's almost like the Nigerian scam where they want some money up front so you can receive a 10% commission of someone that died that was very rich. It just doesn't happen. So scholarships, tips, and advice. 5 scholarship myths. Scholarships for unusual talent. There's some for winning essays. You look for chats about scholarship. Another great place, by the way, and most of you have probably never thought about this. Look for Facebook groups on college scholarships. I know that there are some nice ones out there talking about how to find money for college. Number 8, claims of exclusive scholarships. Sponsors don't make their scholarships available through only one service. There's usually several different places that you can find these. In fact, I would like to let you know that there are a few different insurance companies that have actually very generous scholarships. I will give you the name of one of them. They're called Foresters. Um, they give several scholarships between the $4,000 and $7,000 mark. There usually are some requirements for these. Generally, they will have some sort of life insurance, which may cost only about $100 or something. And if you buy their life insurance for $100, you are eligible to fill out their application fees um, for scholarships. There's another one out of Michigan who actually gives away over 100 scholarships between $3,000 and $5,000. And so I am proud to tell you that I have one, two, three, four. I've had 5 people win that scholarship. And one of my privileges when that happens is sometimes to get to go to their high school and on awards night actually give out that scholarship to that young man or young woman. In fact, I've got one family that out of the 2, there are 3 brothers out of the first 2 that had gone to college. Guess what? Both of them won the scholarship. So that's exciting. The other one is the sponsor goes out of their way to sound official. Scammers sometimes use official sounding words like national, education, federal, or they display an official looking seal to fool you into thinking they are legit. Boy, if I could tell you how many of those I've seen. Absolutely check with your high school if you question a scholarship provider's legitimacy. Let me tell you another place where, especially if you are a financial need candidate, you can look for scholarships. As an example, here in the state of Arizona, there are 2 libraries here in Arizona. In fact, the major Phoenix library here, called the Burton Bar Library, actually has a floor where they have a scholarship center where there are some counselors that if you don't have a lot of money, you can go there for free and they will take you through the process. Last one, your questions aren't answered directly. If you can't get a straight answer from a sponsor regarding the application, what will be done with your information or other questions, proceed with caution. So really, those are the scam warning signs that I've seen all the time. So let's get on to, so how do I really fund college? Well, let me give you the most important college aid formula that you need to write down, and you need to write this down immediately. So it is called COA, cost of attendance, less expected family contribution, EFC. Now, I know they've just changed the name to something called SAI, but it is basically the same amount. That's the amount that you and your family are expected to pay for college. And so what we do is we take the cost of attendance, less the expected family contribution, and we're left with something called family need. And so family need is an interesting thing. So some colleges tend to pay a large portion of family need. And there's some colleges that pay almost no family need whatsoever. So I'll just let you know up front, the ones that pay a large amount of family need are what we call profile schools. So for profile schools, you not only have to fill out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, but you also have to fill out the college scholarship service profile application. And those are generally, there's about 200 colleges on that list. The obvious ones are there, which are the Ivy League schools, but there are other ones like Colgate, Emory, which is down in Georgia. We have Tulane, which is in New Orleans. A lot of those type schools, which are private schools, by the way, they will help you cover 90 to 95% of that family need. One of the things that I found out here, especially in the state of Arizona, U of A, ASU, and NAU, which are the major public universities here in Arizona, they'll only help you with many times I've seen 40 or 50% of that family need. So in addition to that expected family contribution, you have to come up with some more money. So the next question is, how do you think I come up with that extra money, Gary? What's your thoughts? Are you there? If you're
Hang on a sec,
not,
I muted myself by mistake.
okay.
Extra money to come up with. Get an extra job, I think.
Well, that's certainly one of them. So a valid place to do that. There are work study programs at a lot of the colleges. So the nice thing about those work study programs is they actually are a type of college aid. And guess what? The money you receive from that work study W-2 is not countable on your FAFSA application.
Okay, that's interesting to know.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't choose to take one of those work study programs, certainly many students get a job while they're in college. But what the government expects is 21% of that money you earn from that outside employment will become part of your college. The colleges really expect you to pay that into college. So if you earn $10,000 a year, 21, they would expect 21% or $2,100 of that to be contributed towards your college.
Okay.
The other way that many people actually pay for college, and that's actually the page that I have up right now, is there are direct subsidized and direct unsubsidized student loans. And so the nice thing about these kind of loans, Gary, is mom and dad don't have to co-sign on them.
That's good.
And yeah, which is great. So if Johnny or Sue doesn't pay, you're not on the hook for it. So as you look up here, you can see a couple of the rates here for those. For undergraduate borrowers, it's 5.5%. For graduate borrowers, it's 7.05%. And so the next question you might ask, what is the difference between a subsidized and an unsubsidized student loan? Well, an unsubsidized student loan is one that once you take out the loan, it starts earning interest for the government. Now, you don't have to start paying that loan back until 6 months after you get out of college. The other kind of loan there is called a subsidized student loan. As you can imagine, you generally don't get as much of the subsidized student loans unless you have lots of financial need there. And a subsidized student loan doesn't start earning interest until 6 months after you've graduated from college. So these type of loans are often called Stafford loans. So first year Stafford loan, freshman year, you can borrow $5,500. Second year, you can borrow $6,500. And for your junior and senior year, you can borrow $7,500 and $7,500. And for those of you that have kids that are going to go a fifth year, you can actually get another $7,500. But with the cost of tuition and room and board well over the $30,000 mark, I will bet many of you will still be left short on those college loans. So what other kind of loans are out there? Another type of loan out there is called a Parent Plus loan. And guess what, mom and dad? On Parent Plus loans, you have to sign on the dotted line as a cosigner. And so when are student parent plus loans due? You have to start paying on them immediately. For every semester, you take out a parent plus loan. And so unfortunately, I've seen parents with multiple kids in college making $3,000 or $4,000 loan payments per month. Yes, I did say that correctly. That is per month. You want to find a way to go broke fast? Take out a bunch of parent plus loans. So how can you kind of fight against this? Well, number one, I think junior college or community college is a great way for many of your students who cannot compete for perhaps need-based or merit-based scholarships. That's a great place to go for a couple of years. I know in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix is, we've got a great junior college system. And in fact, some of those junior colleges, in case you haven't checked it out, have gone to four-year degree programs. You will also find out that a lot of those junior colleges also have a program sharing information with your state universities. So the state universities will give you credit for these. So that's a great way to do it. In case you want to know about scholarships, really only about 3 to 4% of all people actually get those outside scholarships. But what I would plan to do is I would plan to fill out over 100 applications if I could. And your son or daughter should do that because there is a great chance that they will get some money. My son, in fact, got money from some of these outside scholarships. So that was a great thing for them. I will tell you some great sources of outside scholarships. Anybody heard of the Elks? The Elks Foundation has some one-time scholarships worth thousands of dollars. The Rotary Club, by the way, has some great scholarships worth a few $1,000s as well. Now, they do require you to fill out an application. You should fill out that application conversant with what like the Elks or the Rotary said their mission is. Now, it doesn't mean you have to use that money for a program with that mission, but you should write those applications in line with that. Another thing that a lot of you should do is you should look online for a college application called the Common App. And the Common App is a great application that you can fill out the application once. And I believe it's either free or for nominal cost, and you can send that out to all of the colleges. The other thing I want to make sure most of you do, the biggest mistake I've ever seen is people not filling out the FAFSA application. Please fill that out. I will tell you, you can get no scholarship, merit or need-based, without filling out a FAFSA application. In fact, I just saw that if your family makes less than $60,000 a year, you can actually receive a Pell Grant of up to, and this is a good amount, $7,395. That is a great deal if you qualify. Great thing about a grant, it's free money. You don't have to pay it back. And so that's really important. But really the best place to get scholarships is from your local college or university. That's really where a lot of the money lies. And I just want to ask you, how good are you at negotiating scholarships with billion-dollar or $100 million institutions? I've done this hundreds of times. How many times will you do it? Probably a couple, maybe one or two times, depending on how many kids you have. And by the way, if you don't get awarded the scholarship or financial aid that you're looking for, guess what? You can ask to amend it, or you can ask for it again. don't forget, don't take no for an answer. Another way to do it is go to there's a place on every college campus called the bursar's office. They're the ones that control all of the scholarship money that's been donated by corporations or individuals who think it's important for kids to go to school. Now, sometimes they cannot find an exact match for the purposes of that scholarship, and they're willing to give it out to somebody that's close. So I would strongly recommend that your son or daughter always hit the bursar's office and see if there might be any scholarships that apply to them. So that's a great way to do it as well. Hey, and don't forget to sign up for the SAT and the ACT. There are scholarships associated with certain scores on that. I think the money you get for a National Merit Scholarship today is somewhere around $4,000. And I have several kids over the past several years that have won these. So I think the name of the game is maybe getting many scholarships, Gary. You apply for as many as you can.
Seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, think of this as like a second job. That's a good way to do it. And it will also show you how much your son or daughter is invested in actually going to school. So I know we're hitting about the 30-minute mark now, Gary. So
Yep, we are indeed.
yeah.
If we have any questions, if you'd like to put them into the chat box now, we'll deal with them briefly. And I also want to remind you that at the end of this webinar, when we end in about 5 minutes, a short form will appear in your browser when we sign off. If you could fill that out for us too, that'd be very helpful. And also that would help you to qualify for the gift card if that's something that you want. We will be coming back in about 30 minutes to do a more in-depth talk. This one will be more of a open forum where you can basically ask questions that are relevant to your particular situation. The one thing I would stress is obviously you don't want to give out because this is kind of an open forum, you want to be careful about giving out too much personal information. So keep the questions fairly generic if you decide to stay on for that. And if you'd like to be included on that, we're going to have to scramble a little bit, but if you want to put your email address in the chat box, I will make sure that you get sent over an invite to that, and that will be starting in about 30 minutes. Just so you know. So anyone that wants to be on that, just put your email in the chat box in the next couple of minutes before we wrap, and we'll make sure we shoot you over an invitation as well. Will be a different format. Obviously, this one that we do here with the PowerPoint is fairly scripted, I guess is the term. Obviously, it has to be. But the next one's going to be pretty much open questions. It's like open mic night, kind of. So yeah, if you want to be on that, put your email address in there right now. And if you have any questions, you have a couple of minutes to ask them. Oh, okay. Got a couple of emails here. Yep, we will send you an invite out within the next few minutes. And okay, got several here to add. I'll make sure that we do that. And in the meantime, while I'm jotting those down, anything that you'd like to add, Scott?
No, so what I would tell you is in the next session, for something that I've charged hundreds or thousands of dollars for, you're actually going to get 30 minutes where I'm going to answer your questions for free.
There you go.
So please take advantage of it. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't do this very often.
We've never done it
Because
before, actually.
obviously, like you, Gary, I have to support my family, just like all of you have to support yours.
We've all got bills to
But
pay, that's for
yeah,
sure.
take advantage, ask any question. Guess what? in case I don't know the answer, I want to let you know that I was actually trained by one of the number one guys in college planning. And if I can't answer it, I just give Ron a call. And Ron is like a walking encyclopedia and he will give the answers. So I've just learned, Gary, that we don't know everything, but you know what? We have to willing to be asked questions. And
Absolutely. If we
if
don't
you have
know
a
the
question,
answer, we know a man who can. Yeah.
absolutely. In fact, I know several men who can, who
That's
I talk
good.
to on a monthly basis, by the way.
And I'm not one of them. So yeah.
Absolutely. So,
I'm not.
so please take advantage of the next session. Come up with some thoughtful questions, and I am more than happy to answer them. I believe that you have our information in the chat for anybody who would like to make a phone call or email us with a question if you're too embarrassed to ask online.
Yeah,
And
or
that's
if
it.
you concerned about giving or too much information out online, that's a valid concern. And if you want to speak to us privately, by all means, you can do that. You can always reach me on the toll-free number, which is 888-894-2929. And you can reach Scott's office on 602-824-2299. If you have any questions about gift cards, though, call me. Scott doesn't handle that. I'm the one who has the unenviable task of dealing with those. So anyway, hopefully everybody enjoyed the webinar, got some good ideas out of it. And I'm just finishing up our list here to add you the ones who put their email addresses in to the next session. So we'll be seeing some of you there. I think that's about it for now, actually, because I've got to scramble and send those invites out for about 20 minutes time. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. And thank you, Scott. We're going to stop recording now and end the webinar, and you'll see the form appear in your browser like magic.